What's going on? It's your girl, Miss Lee. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Miss Lee Experience Friday nights. You know how it goes down. It's an experience. It's a Friday night experience full of talk, laughter, sports, music, conversation, and all kinds of other goodies. So I hope you're excited for tonight's show. We are closing out the series, my three-part series on dating and transitioning into marriage, and we covered so many wonderful things in these past 3 weeks, and I'm just excited to close it out with tonight's topic. Just the girlfriend-wife mentality and, you know, being a girlfriend, being a wife to a boyfriend and, you know, all of these expectations and things and just behaviors that kind of set us up for failure in some instances. So that's tonight's topic. I'm really, really excited not only to talk with you guys about the topic and to share some of my personal opinions, because that's just what I do, as well as, you know, welcome our special guest who will be joining us in a little while. Her name is Shonda B White. She is an author, and she wrote an awesome book, which I, just started to read. I meant to crack it open a lot sooner, but I did not get all the way through where I intended to. But I can't wait to finish it. She wrote this book called Don't Be a Wife to a Boyfriend. So, interesting conversation. We're going to have with her. I know you're like, wait a minute, where the fellas? So, T mentioned last week that he's going to be at a wedding. It is also his wedding anniversary. So shout out and much love to T, celebrating 16-ish years of marriage, maybe. Something like that. I want to say it's 16 years. So shout out to T. He's in Philly holding it down with his wife right now. And we would normally have sports updates. I'm going to do a little sports talk tonight. But JT got called into work tonight. So he, you know, is getting the money, you know, making that bread. You know, can't be mad, can't hate. So we're going to talk about a little sports too. As you know, I got to, because I was just so over the top excited about the third week of the NFL. So real excited to jump into that. So let's get the commonalities out the way. Let's get the formalities out the way. You know how to connect with me on Facebook. Go ahead and like Miss Lee on Facebook, as well as on Twitter. Follow me, Justmisslee, on Twitter, as well as Instagram. It's Justmisslee. On Instagram, you know, follow me, connect with me. You know the number, call into the show, 347-934-0949 is the number. When I talked about this topic, I posted it on Facebook, actually. And one of my mutual friends on Facebook actually shared Shonda's book on her Facebook page. And I was like, you guys got to tune in because she's going to be on the show. So it's just really exciting to see that a lot of women are looking at their dating history and really trying to uncover, you know, what are the right ways to date, what are some best practices, how do we protect our heart, how do we move forward, you know, just these various elements of how do we protect our heart but still do right by those that we love. Especially since we as women, we look at things in a very special way. We like to, we wear our heart on the sleeves and we see the potential in the potential boyfriend, in the husband. And we look at things and we're like, hey, this is what I see. This is how I look at you, and this is how I see that we're going to grow and we're going to evolve. And I'm just going to do these things to show you that I love you, and show you that I care for you, and show you that I am the one you should pick. And I'm going to cook your dinner, and I'm going to nurture, and I'm going to iron your clothes and do all these wonderful things that a good old girlfriend should do. But then what ends up happening is we end up, women, ladies, talking to you, being a little vulnerable right now, we end up doing these things. And I think we have good intentions, and I know we're going to talk about it in detail later, but we have these good intentions, and we're like, yes, I like him. I see the future. We're going to do this. I want him to know that I'm going to be the ultimate woman, and I'm going to be the ultimate wife, and I'm going to be the best thing he can ever see. And he's not going to want anybody else because I'm doing all that I can do right now for him. And, of course, men are like, oh, cool, she take care of me. She got me. She cooked. I love her because she could cook. And it's like crazy because we're thinking that because we're doing these things, men are going to automatically say, hey, I'm going to marry her, or I'm going to wife her up. I'm going to give her my last name. But I don't, and in not all situations that's the case. It doesn't typically happen that way. And I think this is when we get into the baggage and the hate and the regrets. And we hold grudges, and we talked about baggage last week with Crystal Wilson. And we were talking about, the things that we hold on to, and it's like it carries with us. And because sometimes we've done all these things with our current girlfriend-boyfriend situation, and it didn't go the way that we wanted, we carry those feelings into the next situation. And it's never a good thing. So let's stop the trend, man. Let's take your role as girlfriend and your role as boyfriend and just be that. Let's just be that. A lot of times I think because we are in this microwave society, we need things right now. We're counting down messages, and we're like, hey, I'm getting older, my eggs are shrinking, my hairs are graying, my bones are cracking. We need to hurry up and do all that we can do right now so I can guarantee the future that I want or I see for myself, without really understanding that you might not be ready for it. So we get placed in these situations where we're angry because it doesn't happen. And we get a one-sided relationship where we're doing all the work and he's doing nothing. And then it's just not cool. It's just not cool. So let's stop the trend. Let's stop all of it. Let's look at it as, hey, I'm your girlfriend. I'm your boyfriend. You're my boyfriend. Whichever role you're in at the present moment. And say, hey, I'm going to be just what that is. And I'm not going to go into this expecting, and I'm not going to go into this thinking that if I behave a certain way, you're going to automatically advance me to the next phase. Because you can only guarantee what's presented in front of you. And if it's not presented in front of you, and it's not something that's placed in your heart, if it's not something that's placed on their heart to say to you, give to you, and make that next step with you, then it's not guaranteed. It's just not. And so many people, I know women currently that have done all of that. Oh, I was there for him, and I made a home for him, and I gave him a drawer, and, they kind of did the move-in thing, and they just kind of, got the bank account information and handling his finances for him. I mean, that's just too much. This is too much. Like, intermingling your money, intermingling your your credit and co-signing and oh my gosh, buying property together, thinking is we when you should be I. It's a setup for failure if it hasn't happened. I know, it's difficult. It's difficult. We women, we look at things and we're like, hey, it's going to happen. I trust, I believe, I want it. And sometimes it is not the case. I don't know. It's serious. It's serious out here. A lot of people are playing house, playing wife, playing husband, and they don't even understand what those roles are. But they're going off of the ideology of what they think it should be based off of what they see on TV or what they heard people do or what they do what others don't do. And they're like, hey, it didn't work out for them, but it's going to work out for me. Be smart. Don't take on responsibilities that's not meant for you to take on. Be that person in that relationship that supports mentally, makes, like, if you think of it with your friends, right? You want your friends to be the best that they could be, right? You encourage them to follow their dreams, to keep moving on each day. You pray with your friends. You're there for their family. You kind of hang out. You get invited to dinner. You kind of have a connection, a commonality that draws you together. And so many people get into relationships, they don't even have a commonality. They look good or they have sex real good, and it's just an attraction there. And it's like, hey, I like you. Or I love you, but I don't know if I like you. It's that too. So take a step back. Hey, I'm going to go into this situation, this relationship, this potential opportunity situation for both parties and say, hey, I'm going to let you see who I am. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to be honest. Because with your friends, you're honest, you're respected, you're encouraging, you're motivating. You have fun with your friends, and those are some elements of a relationship that you should have if you're in a boyfriend-girlfriend situation. It's crazy. I went out, and I think I shared this on the Justmisslee experience at one point in time. I was out eating, and I saw a couple, and I don't know if they were newly dating. I don't know if they've been together forever, but they was at the restaurant, and they were sitting across the table from me. And I'm sitting there with a couple of my friends from church, and I'm having to glance over, and they were literally sitting at the table across from each other. They weren't even talking to each other. They might have said 2 words to each other the whole time. They just looked like they were just miserable. He ordered, for her, and I kind of could tell that they were in some kind of relationship, but it just was. I was sitting there as a fly on the wall, like, yo. If I was not in that relationship and I'm looking in on it, it would have been the most boring relationship I would have ever been in. And I just stepped back and thought of, like, I wonder how much she's done in that relationship. Like, did she really give her all? Or did she, say, hey, I have no more to give. This is all of me. And now they're in a point in their relationship where it's just like they don't even talk to each other. Like, I don't ever want to be in a situation where I'm not talking to my significant other at the dinner table. I talk to my friends. I want to talk to you, too. It's just crazy. It's crazy. I can't wait. I can't wait to talk with Shonda. Again, this is a Justmisslee experience. I'm Justmisslee. We're talking about dating, relationships, all that good stuff. Closing out the series. And we'll be back. I got some good music tonight. I felt that, I didn't play a lot of music last week. I didn't play a lot of music the week before because the conversation was so real. But, I always think that music kind of ties in the conversation, and I think that that's a good way to speak without words but through melody. So, with that being said, a nice oldie but goodie. Here's Case, Happily Ever After on the Justmisslee Experience. I'm Justmisslee. We'll be right back.
Guess what I did today? Those were the words I said to you. It was last Don't know the exact day. In my head there was a ring. Then you told me that you love me more than anything in your life. So I asked you, would you do me the honor of being my wife? I will be your man, your protector, your best friend. Till my humble life is ended and time begins again. Every day. Just faces. Some people grew apart, but you stayed right in my heart. Yeah, and so many times picture this day inside my mind. And for so many years, ooh, I knew it would be you here with me. Take you for my wife, the center of my life, and I will never ever fade from this choice I made. Yeah, yeah. Come on. Say my love is strong.
Yeah. Kate's Happily Ever After. It's a Justmisslee experience. We're in that third phase of this trilogy of topics discussing dating, marriage, and all of the in-betweens. I posted a question on the Facebook, Twitter page. Are there some things that girlfriends should do or shouldn't do? So I want to know, what are some of the things that you think that girlfriends shouldn't do and what they should do. And, of course, I'm going to tell you what I think as well. What I think, and I wish in relationships, and I think in mature relationships, people should be held to I don't want to say standards because that's not a good word to say. People should be held accountable, and people should be honest and speak out to what they're comfortable with, and it's one thing to have someone in that relationship that's just giving and nurturing and genuine, and that's just how they are. They just do all and everything for everybody that's around them, not just their specific significant other, in that relationship. But, they just have this heart where they just give, and they just naturally want people to just appreciate how they are, as opposed to people who do things with an intention to manipulate a different outcome than what's reality. And when I say hold people accountable, like if you are in a relationship with someone and that person does not, you don't want that person to do the things that they're doing, you should say, hey, that's making me uncomfortable. I don't want you to do that because you're putting me to think of you in a space that I'm not ready to think of you. And I think people should be more honest. And I don't think that happens a lot when you're dating someone. I think it just doesn't. Oh, wait. I think I mentioned that T is celebrating his anniversary, and I think he's calling in. So let me see.
What's up, Lee? What's up, Lee? What's good, people?
What's going on?
Well,
How are you?
Chilling, hanging in there. It's a Friday night. I'm literally at a wedding reception right now, and It is my 16-year wedding anniversary as well. So, but I just wanted to call in, check with the people. It's been such a good series. You know what I mean? I had a little input.
Yes.
I always got something to say. And that question that you put out there this week too, that was a killer question. So
Yes.
So what's good with you? What's up?
It's a good Friday. I'm chilling, I'm relaxed, and I think this is a good way to close out the topic, the series. But T, I gotta ask you. I want to ask you this question.
Mm-hmm.
Are there some things that a girlfriend shouldn't do that's like crossing into wife territory?
Some things that a girlfriend shouldn't do that's crossing into wife territory.
Yes.
That will make me as a man consider not wifing her. I don't know.
Either way.
I'm a different dude when it comes to things of that nature. So what I will say is if I'm getting the milk for free, what's the point in buying the cow? You know what I mean? If I'm already getting the milk for free, if you already doing everything, if we co-sign to everything and all of that stuff is already being taken care of, what's the point in getting married except in name only? Because I know a few couples that have been going years and years on the we cohabitate, we do everything together, we on each other's bills, what have you, and then as soon as they decide to, cross the T and dot the I and get married, everything falls apart. So, I mean, from practical experience, I think there's certain things that should be held back. I don't think that you should, prior to, getting married, I don't think that you should intermingle every single aspect of your lives. I mean, I thought I'm kind of old fashioned with it too. So I'm like, me and my wife didn't live together before we got married. And I know people be like, oh, you should live together to know how a person is. For me, I was like, I want a little surprise. You know what I'm saying? Let me figure it out as we go. So we didn't live together. We had keys to each other's apartment, so we could go to each other's apartment when we wanted, and we stayed, maybe a weekend at a time, but it was never, she was just over my place for a whole week, or I was over her place for a whole week. Like, that wasn't the case at all. So, you know what I mean? Like, for me, I would say, certain things like that is definitely a hold off. I'm not like, if I was ever to become single again, I would never move in with nobody. It's not we moving in, we gonna play married. We either gonna do it or we not. So that's
I'm with you.
That's how I look at it.
I say that to people now, and people like y'all, ladies and like yo, people tell me I'm crazy, and I'm like, look, I might be old fashioned, like you said, or I might be thinking out of left field, but I don't want to live with my boyfriend or my fiance. I don't. I feel like if we're already cohabitating, there's nothing to look forward to when you're married because you're already in the routine. Like I feel like it should be fun seeing that he don't like to put the cap on the toothpaste. And it pisses me off. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like you those are the fun pieces of enjoying the newlywed phase of like how this person is, and yeah, we can go over each other's houses, but the whole sleeping over and like having, it's just, I feel like that when you're single, you're technically single until you say I do. I don't know. I just, people say I'm crazy. And like,
I mean, you are like you are. Like you are single until those vows are exchanged and y'all are both on the yes, I do. Yeah, I had to step outside the hall real quick. It's getting a little noisy up in there. But no. Until those words are exchanged, then yeah, y'all are definitely single. So, playing like y'all married ain't being married. Like,
right.
and that's the one thing, I think people fool themselves when we playing like we married. We doing all this stuff that married people do, but we not actually married, because when you do that, when you actually get married, you misinterpret how hard it really is. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, we just going to try it out. We going to live with each other to try it out. Well, you lived with each other for so long. Now you get married, and the first thing that comes along, now you ready to get divorced? No. I think what I would say what not living with someone does is it gives you a chance to get into that. How is this person really? Can I? It gives you a little bit more patience to deal with the flaws of that person. So as you're going along, dealing with the little ticks and tacks, the little intricacies, the little things that the idiosyncrasies that this person has, then you got to have a little patience to see if this really works. And once you do that, at the same time, you're also getting everything else along with it. So I think you're more likely to end up staying married longer if you don't live with somebody. That's just my opinion. I mean, like, I ain't even going front. Like, I got a homie that he lived with his girl for like 5 years, and prior to them getting married, and they got married, and cool. I got plenty of homies that lived with their girls before they got married, and they still good to this day. They all rocking out with 16 years or more. But some people, I mean, it's all in what's your value. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if to put it, in the context of the topic, save something for you should have something saved for your husband or your wife. Something that not everybody else has had or experienced. So you should save something a little extra, so when you do get married, it's like, boom, this is fresh and new for both of us. I was holding on to this just for you, and boom, it's yours.
Yo, it's there, and you know what too? And I was thinking of this as well. When you live with someone and your girlfriend, boyfriend, and you're playing house, and you're like, yeah, I'm gonna make him think I'm your wife, and blah blah blah. It's so much harder to break up because y'all got shit mingled. You can't just walk away. Not to say, I mean, because in the contrast to that is when you're married, you really can't just walk away that easy. Like, you have to really be forced to make that thing work. But if you're like dating someone for 2 years, y'all been living together, you got the Comcast bill in his name, you got the electric bill in your name, y'all on the rent, y'all got your lease up. Like, it's just too much. Then you can't break up to the lease is over because you got. It's just too much.
Here's the thing, like, like I said earlier, like in the question that you posted earlier during the week, I basically said a man knows, like, in his head, He knows in his head first that he's going to love someone and that he's choosing to love someone. So if I'm dating somebody, I already know, I got an idea that, she's the one. And if she's the one, then, I'm going to go ahead and make that happen. I'm going to get on bended knee and do what I need to do. So, at the end of the day, it's like, if we living together for 5-6 years, if we living together for 7 years, like, I already knew in year 2 that you was the one that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. But if I'm not committing to you still after 7 years in terms of a marriage, then it's like, where haven't I matured? What part of me am I holding back? Am I holding back that thing of that possibility that, it might, I want that option to be able to deal with someone else, because until you get married, you are single. You are technically single. So, you know what I mean? Even if you're in a relationship, you're still single. You're still single. So at the end of the day, it's like, maybe it's that thing that, maybe it's this, self-deception. Maybe you can screw around and, you're not married, so you're not committing adultery. I'm just saying.
T, are you able, I know you're calling in from the wedding. I'm about to intro our guest. Are you able to stay on for the intro? Are you going to jump off? Come on, what you thinking?
What? Say that again, Lee.
I said I'm about to intro our guest. Are you going to stay on for a little bit as we bring her on?
Just get a real quick second, because my wife just came and gave me my meal ticket, so I'm about to have to go get something to eat, and I got a drink waiting for me too. So.
Okay, all right. Let's bring Miss Shonda on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned we have this wonderful author. Her name is Shonda Brown White. She is a native of the, I guess, Kentucky, southern west-ish part of the country. She knew from a young age she wanted to, make women wonderful and just, be an inspirational asset into people's lives and just get them on the right path of being successful and encouraging and empowering individuals. And she has this wonderful book out that's called Don't Be a Wife to a Boyfriend, 10 Things I Learned While I Was Single. And she has a couple other books out there, and she's doing a lot of wonderful things. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Shonda Brown White.
Hi.
Welcome.
Yeah, I was having some good conversation. I was like, I don't want to mess up what they got going on right now.
That's how me and T do, I'm glad he was able to call in. It's his anniversary. He and his wife have been married 16 years. So today.
Yay! Happy anniversary. We just celebrated last Tuesday, so shout out to September weddings and marriage anniversaries.
Thank you, and happy anniversary to you as well.
Thank you.
So, Miss Shonda, tell us about this book, because, I cracked it open. I'm not deep into it. I don't want to give any spoilers. I wanted to read it sooner, but life has got in the way. But that's real life. Your title is real life. I just want to put that out there. This is real.
Yeah, it's real. And if anybody, even if once you delve into like the chapter 1, which I refer to as my lessons, but like lesson 1, you probably know by now, I go real deep, real fast. So the purpose behind that, I go real deep. It's like, oh, whoa, okay, she went right in there. Okay, she's not playing.
For real. There was no appetizer. It was his entree. Let's rock it.
Yeah. And that's just I'm like, you got to be real, like, as an author, and, like, you just have to be real with people, and you want people to feel your realness. And you have to go to a place, and it doesn't matter what type of relationship it is, whether you're dating, married, single, whether it's friendships, whatever, you have to kind of go to a deep place and kind of take a step back and say, okay, how did I get to this point? What is making me do some of the things that I'm doing or have done? And then once you can kind of deal with the past, then you kind of move forward and say, okay, this is what I vowed not to do, or this is why I used to do what I did. So, yeah, I definitely wanted to, like, go deep real fast.
Yes. I appreciate it because, I see, like, especially with my friends, old friends, new friends, like, they jump into wife mode so quick, and they don't even realize that dude might only see you as what you are. Like, he might not even be thinking of you or thinking of the things that you are doing for him in the way that you're wanting him to see it as. Like, the communication is so off, and it's like, I see the outcome before they see the outcome, and I'm like, yo, this isn't going to end well. Like, I already know it's not going to end well. But it's like, it's like partly I feel sad for some women who do this. Like, I don't know if it's part desperation or they're just hopeless. I don't know. They just want something so bad that's just not meant for them to have right now. And, it's scary for a lot of emotions to get tied up that way.
Yeah, and I think it's a variety of reasons. And, women, we naturally are nurturers anyway, so we want to care for others. We want to take care of other people. But like I say in my book, the issue, like, I honestly have an issue if you are like one of those who, whatever you're doing and, you're cooking for them, you're cleaning for them, and if there's reciprocity, then that's good. But it becomes an issue when there isn't reciprocity. And Lauryn Hill sung about it a long time ago about, she's like, when do I get the reciprocity? When am I going to see the love given back to me that I've been giving to you out this whole time? And that's when it becomes an issue. That's when you're being a wife to a boyfriend to someone who's not even treating you like a wife. He merely thinks of you as a girlfriend, or you might just be the side chick. So that's when the conflict arises, because obviously you two are on a different page. And one of the things that you guys are talking about, which my husband says all the time, which I talked about in the book, is like, if a man wants to be with you, he'll be with you, point blank, period. And like, he knows when he's dating a girl, and he knows when he's actually courting a girl. He knows if she's going to be a one-night stand, and he knows if he's going to try to like make it last. Like, they just know. And
we know.
You said it.
It's like, there's certain qualities that we as men look for, and we know. When we go into this, we go into relationships with our head before we go into them with our heart. Now, when our heart is open, our heart is all the way open, and we hate being vulnerable in that stance, because it's like, oh man, my head said this, I should have went with my logic, but I let my heart get open. But the whole thing, I think what it is with a lot of women, too, is there's so much competition between y'all and amongst y'all. And when you look at, in certain areas, the ratio of women to men, and it's like, men, we kind of have our pick. And some women will overcompensate by saying, let me show him how much that I'm wife material so that he will wife me up. When y'all don't have to do that. Y'all really don't have to do that. Because if a guy wants you, he wants you. He wants you. Y-O-U.
Yeah.
And that's it.
And that was exactly, I was that girl, and that's why I talk. And in the book, I even talk from the beginning. I'm like, listen, this ain't that type of, it's not a male bashing book. This is not a book that's like, this is how you get a man, this is how you keep a man. I'm like, this is just me sharing my experiences, and I was that girl. I was the one that was like, oh my gosh, if I do all of this for him, he's going to want to be with me. Like, if I have sex with him, he's definitely going to want to be with me. Like, and I'm like thinking, no, like once I got older, I was like, no, that's not necessarily true. Just because there's an absence of, or a presence of sex doesn't mean there's a presence of love. And so I had to really like learn that, just because I gave up my physical body didn't mean that like he was like giving me his heart. But I was that girl. It was like I wanted him. And even if I wasn't compete with anybody else, I just wanted to be that girl that he was like, yeah, I want to wipe her or whatever, not knowing that I was doing all of this stuff for people who weren't willing to do the same for me. And it's like, and two things I see with it is, on one end, there's a lot of ladies out here that are making it easy for the men, and so they're making it easy for the men, but they're making it harder for the women who do have standards, and for the women who are like, you know what, you need to put a ring on it before I'm doing all of this, X, Y, and Z. But on the flip side of that, there are a lot of men who are not stepping up to the plate either. So, like, the women are like, where's the dating? Where's the courting? Where's the taking me out on a real date? And a lot of guys, unfortunately, aren't stepping up to that plate because there are females who are not making them do that. So it's like on both sides. Exactly.
Hey, if I could Netflix and chill, why am I going to take you to P.F. Chang's?
Right.
For Red Lobster.
Right. It's true. It's true. And it's really like how you said, Shonda, it's what your values, what your morals, like, stick to it. Like, don't compromise it, because at the end of it all, my grandmother, and I remember my grandfather telling me this, what is for you will be for you. Like, it's going to be there for you. You don't have to do all of this extra to make someone think that you are who you're going to be. Like, it's going to happen if it's going to happen. You have to be true in your morals and your values. And if you have boundaries, state what your boundaries are. No, I'm not sleeping over. No, we're not doing, those are not things that is going to put me in a healthy emotional state after I stay at your house or you stay at my house, because I'm going to be tested, and then I'm going to look at you differently, and it's just going to be like, ooh, now we did this, now it's awkward. Like, really be true to who you are. And if you're not comfortable doing the wifely duties and you're a girlfriend or you're just dating, like, don't do it. Like, don't do it, because it's just, you're forcing something that's not meant to happen, because he might not even look at you that way, or he might be unsure, or, there's a lot of layers to it that the communication gets crossed, and it's just
exactly. Yeah, and that was one of the reasons why the first chapter, I started with, accept self-love before you accept love from someone else, because it all starts with yourself. And so I didn't start getting treated better. I didn't get the dates and get the respect that I wanted until I started expecting it, and until I started, expecting it from that other person. But before, I accept the bare minimum. So if it's if you just going to accept McDonald's and a cheeseburger, cool. But if you're going to expect some filet mignon, and I'm speaking metaphorically, not like you need to take me to P.F. Chang's or whatever, but more so of you need to have higher standards for yourself. But once I made those higher standards for myself, then I made sure I communicated those to my man, and then he either stepped up to him or he didn't, and if he didn't, then he had to go. So,
right.
And I would say, and I said this last week, it's about understanding your self-worth and understanding who you are and exactly what you bring to the table. And when you come to the table with that confidence, first of all, whether you male or female, if you got a self-worth about you, ain't nobody raggedy going to be able to step to you, because if they raggedy, they not going to be able to handle your conversation. They're not going to be able to handle your mentality, your spirituality, your emotional sensibilities. They're going to be lost. So they automatically going to X themselves out the game. But as long as you continue to hold that self-value and that self-standard, then that person that's meant for you will you will attract what you are, is what I'm saying.
Right.
Eventually you end up attracting what you are. And once you attract what you are, then at that point, that is where you can begin to court. That is when you can begin to date. You can have honest discussions about what your expectations are and what your wants are, and what it is, where you both going in life. Two people that are of the same mind and going in the same direction will end up staying together and getting married and making something happen. But if you don't know who you are or what you want, then you just going to settle for anything. You just going to get anything.
Oh Lord, it's so true. I have a question, Shonda, and I haven't got this far in the book. I don't know if you talk about this, but I have this conversation with my friends, and I've been single a minute, like a hot minute, and it was definitely by choice, because I just wasn't about that life, and I was like, look, I just need to get my life together. I want to enjoy my 20s. I want to, just find me, love me, figure me out. Like, I just made that choice. I live by the mentality of when I'm single and I'm dating, I'm free to date a lot of people. Like, I'll talk to multiple people. I'll go out on different dates with different people, because I look at dating like I need to figure out what I like, and I need to figure out how I react and relate to different people. And if I'm dating one person and I'm dedicating all of my time to one person, and I might not like you all the way, I don't want to say I look at it as wasting my time, but I look at it as I'm not really uncovering all that I can learn about myself. So I have these conversations with my friends, and they're like, oh, no, I can't do that. I can't keep up. But I'm like, no, you don't. I'm not saying you're sleeping with all these people. I'm just saying be open. If you meet a gentleman who wants to go out and have coffee with you or take you out for breakfast or whatever, like, talk to different people. get to know different personalities, and you might realize, wow, I might actually like an intellectual person over a street smart person, or I might actually enjoy a challenging conversation over a goofy conversation. But do you find that a lot of women who are single, they can't date, they don't know how to date multiple people at one time?
Yeah, I actually was that girl. I was opposite of you. I was like a serial monogamer. Like, I wanted to be in a relationship 7 days after week, 24/7. Like, that was me. I didn't really learn how to do that until like one of my last relationships before I got married, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I took some time off. Even before I had the like time where I was just by myself, like no dating, no talking to anybody. Right before that, I had that little period where I got to like kind of date around, you know, talk to different people. And I do talk about that in the book about kind of make yourself a priority and do what you got to do as a single woman. Of course, I don't encourage women to just run around, but it's very interesting because I went to a relationship conference just a few weeks ago at my church in Atlanta, and they were talking about, you know, even if you are going to date, make sure you date with a purpose. So it's like, because part of, like you were saying, you're trying to figure out if you like this person, whatever, but while you're trying to figure that out, also figure out, okay, you know, are we connected on a spiritual level? How's his financial background? Not getting maybe too deep all in his business, but, you know, how do we interact with, what type of things does he like to do? Is he like adventurous? Is he quiet? Is he extroverted? Am I introverted? Like those types of things. And, you know, just like you said, just be open to dating people, meeting new people. Like, I'm totally a proponent of it because it's like there's nothing wrong with it, especially if you were the type of person like me who was so busy, like trying to be committed, trying to be married, and trying to like be so serious so young. I was like, why was I trying to be so serious like in high school? Like, this is ridiculous. Like, so yeah, I definitely think that some girls struggle with that. But I think the reason why some struggle with that is because of our instinct to love so quickly and to like put all of our eggs in one basket, and because we're so, you know, we're the little girls who dream about growing up and, you know, forever, for happily ever after, meeting our Prince Charming. And to be honest, guys ain't thinking about that. Guys are like, listen, I'm about to go to the club, try to get this.
We trying to sow our wild oats.
Right.
We trying to come to America. We trying to come in America. We trying to come all over America. We doing all of that.
Yeah, they doing all of that. And I don't want my girls to be like that, but I do think that there's opportunity for us to, and not even be so consumed with any of that. Sometimes you just need to be by yourself and be okay with being by yourself, and you need to be working on your business, launching your blog, launching your website, launching your book, you know, versus spending all this time finishing school, going back to school. Like, there's so many things you can be concentrating on versus, okay, let me see if my husband is at the club this weekend.
Well, let me add this because I'm getting a hook and I got to go. But let me just say this to y'all ladies is be all right with dating yourself. Let me add to that. When you dating around and you trying to check for your Prince Charming to see who's who and what's what, be okay with dating yourself. Take yourself to the movies. Buy yourself flowers. Do things of that nature so that at the end of the day, you are fully comfortable with you so that someone else can be comfortable with you. So I'm going to leave y'all on that note. Shonda, it was a pleasure speaking with you. Hopefully you'll be back on the show and we can have a conversation again. But let me go back in and get back with this reception. So y'all have a good night. Ms. Lee, I'll see you next week.
Yes. All right. Absolutely. I agree with that. I definitely I really enjoy that, and I think men, and how you mentioned your husband, you know, and how he knew when he knew. And I think because men take that time and they just be out there, they have fun, they did, they might jump in something, jump out of something. It's not, you know, it's not so focused on men as it is on women because, like you said, we do think emotionally and nurturing, and we're, you know, we have that piece of us that men have. It's just portrayed differently. So I think when they do meet the woman that they know they're going to marry, because they've done all of that, they know. It's like, oh, yeah, I already know.
And some of
I already had a girl like that.
and some of it is society's fault, too, because there's so much pressure. Like I talk about in the book, it's like when you're dating, they're like, when you get married, when you having a baby, when you have a baby, the baby ain't even 6 months. Like my girlfriend just had a baby. The baby's not even 6 weeks, and they're already asking her, when y'all going to have the second one? Like, yo, slow down. Like, you got to live your life for you, and you can't do things just because, like, when me and my husband got married, everybody was like, well, when y'all having a baby? And I was like, we kind of holding off on the baby, you know. So we made sure, because for us, we wanted to enjoy that time being married, getting to know each other even more. And I've never regretted a day in my life. Now, when I actually do have a baby, I might change my mind. But so far, I'm like, I have a great marriage. I'm happy. And, you know, yes, I do want kids. But I wasn't going to have kids simply because I felt like, oh, well, when you get married, you're supposed to have a child right after you get married. Like, no. Like, we wanted to do our marriage the way we wanted to do it.
Right. Right. And that should be okay. You know, and society and social media and like all these, you know, reality TV stars and how they see marriage and relationships and how it should be is not really, that might be right for that person. It might be wrong for that person. But you really have to figure out what's right for you and in your current state. You know, it's like, you know, when you meet somebody and you're dating and you're like, I want to date someone who's going to make me better. Like, help me see other potentials in myself that I don't see in myself. And when I'm weak, he's like, you got this. You can be strong. You can move forward. And I can do the same for him, because when you're married, you got to do that more often than you think.
Oh, yeah.
You got to do that.
The marriage thing, that's the whole, when he was talking about coming back on the show, I'm like, yeah, next time we'll do something for the married folk, because everybody's always like, well, when you going to write for the married people? I'm like, I got you, but I'm like, let me get about 2 more years in, but, you know, and then we can hit the 10-year mark. But people don't understand. They think when you get married, like, oh, your life is just perfect, and, you know, like, people, that's part of the reason why I wrote the book, because people just assume that Eric just fell out the sky, and, whoa, like, there he was, this aura behind him, like the Rick James aura from Dave Chappelle. Like, he was just, here he is. And I'm like, no, like, we have to go through things, and when you get married, you still going to have issues that you have to work through, especially if you ain't worked out those single issues. You know what I mean?
Yes, yes. What advice would you give to that woman who constantly does the same thing over and over again? They give their all. They over-nurture. This kind of on a borderline of potential wife / mother. Like, they just go over and above, and they constantly getting hurt, but they find themselves in a cycle of continuously putting themselves in these relationships where they're constantly nurturing prematurely. What do you say to those women?
Well, the first piece of advice is I would tell her to go to Amazon.com and buy my book.
That's right. Yeah.
And I only say that, and I say that honestly because you know, we could stay on this show for all night for me to like explain how I went from being that girl to where I am now. Right. But I was like, I'll just save her the time, and she can go on Amazon and get the book for like $14. But if, you know, we do have a little time, I would tell her that, like, it just starts with herself, and she has to, like, take a moment to just stop and really consider, okay, what have I done for myself, and look at the relationships and say, okay, what did I do in that one that I could do differently? And it's all about those expectations, like I was talking about earlier. So she has to take a moment to say, okay, what am I willing to kind of put up with or deal with, and what do I expect from the person that I want to date? And based on the next person she decides to have a relationship with or get to know, she has to stand firm on those expectations and those standards, and she cannot back down. In other words, if she's thinking like, okay, I want him to date me, or I don't want to be the one who's always calling him, okay, sweetheart, so these are your signs. If he's not texting you, if he's not calling you and like you want, and if he's not, you know, if he's not putting in the effort and putting in the work, then maybe that's not the type of guy. Because for me, that's what it came down to. I was always the one doing all of the work, and I talk about that even more deeper in the book. But it's like if you're the one that's always putting in the work, and that's that type of girl, the one who's always giving and nurturing, because I'm a giver by nature anyway. It's like if you're that girl, you know, don't do it for the next one. Stop and let him do the work. Let him put in the work. Let him take you out. Don't be paying his bills and he's sitting at home chilling. Don't fall into the trap of trying to be provider and mother and whatever else. Like, if he wants you to be his girlfriend, he needs to show you that he can be as stable. Does he have a job? J-O-B.
For real.
Question. Like, you know, for real. Yeah. And if he doesn't have a job, like, what is he doing to make himself better? Is he in school? Is he working towards something? Is he working on his own business? Like, you know, because you can easily get trapped in that if you get with somebody and he's like, well, you know, he just needs a little help. He's just getting through some things. No, I could see if y'all were together and, like, y'all helped each other. But if y'all starting off like that and you're, like, paying his stuff on bill and you doing all of this, no, you might want to switch over, you know, especially if that's what you've been doing. If that's the same habit you've been doing, then you're going to have to change it, because if you keep doing the same habits, you're going to keep getting the same results.
Same results. That is so, so, so true. And it's like, you know, it just, and I know everybody has their own learning curves, their own hurdles and life lessons, and it comes at whatever time you're ready to receive the lesson. You know, sometimes you run into the wall once and you're like, oh, yeah, that wall. I remember the wall. Yeah. I'm running. You know, and it's just like the wall was blue this time. It wasn't red. Oh, now it's green. But it's still a wall. You know, and it's like you really have to wake up and say, hey, this is happening for a reason. And what can I do to hold myself accountable for the actions that have caused me to feel this way, and still be able to decipher it as, I'm not going into my next relationship or dating situation being hostile or bitter because of what happened before. Like, I need to understand that I learned. I'm not hating this man and prejudging this man for what mistakes I made with the last man, who only did what he did to me because I allowed it, or I didn't speak up for myself. You know, and it's like, and that's why I said in the beginning of the show, like, we have to have relationships and even friendships, because if you look at boyfriend, girlfriend, the end of it is friend, right? And when you have your girlfriends and you're talking with your girls, or boys, you're talking with your fellas or whatever, you're honest, you're open, you're vulnerable, like you share. And it's like, as soon as you have a boyfriend attached to it or a girlfriend attached to it, like you kind of shape the word a little bit, like maybe.
And another thing, and another thing is, like, we have to trust our gut. Like, God gave us female intuition for a reason. And like you were saying, everybody, you know, they go on their different journeys, and everybody learns the lesson at different points. But we as women know. We know when the relationship ain't right. We know when we've given way too much and it's time to move on. We know when the relationship is dead and we're trying to, like, give birth to something that needs to stay dead. Like, we know, but sometimes we ignore those signs. We ignore the voices. We ignore God telling us because we might be so desperate or because it's so comfortable or it's convenient. And one thing I like to always say is comfort and convenience are not substitutes for love. So even though it feels comfortable and even though it feels convenient, it doesn't mean that that's what's right for you. And so we have to listen to that inner voice and that gut and that female intuition that's like, Shonda, you know you need to move on. Like, you've done enough. He's not changing. He's not gonna be someone else that you're trying to make him. It's time to move on.
And yes, I just yes. It's like, please listen, tune in. It the antennas are there, the lessons are there, and people show you their signs sometimes early on. Like, oh wait, that's a flag. Let me put that in my back pocket. Maybe that was a coincidence, or maybe that was just a rare situation. Oh wait, pause. Don't know. He did it again. You know, or she did it again. Like, you gotta pay attention. You got to. So can I know you're gonna say yes, but I want to put this out there. Can the fellas read this book? I know I was enjoying it, and I think it would be kind of cool for the fellas to pick it up and just kind of read it and kind of, because even though women, you know, we need to be accountable for the things we do, men have to be accountable for what they allow that woman to do, and if they're not comfortable with the nurturing things that woman is doing, hey, you should slow down. Maybe I got that. I can make dinner. You know, like, should the fellas read this book too?
Yes, absolutely they can and they should. It's so funny because two funny stories. So one, even as I was reading it, of course my husband, read chapters he was reading 50 million times because he was like my chief reviewer. Not that he was my editor, but I'm like, hey, read this, read this. And it was funny because he was like, wow. He's like, babe, like, it kind of gives you a different perspective for a man, too. He said, because sometimes they do things. And, me and my husband will tell you, we were not innocent. We still are innocent, but we had a past, before we got together. And he's like, it kind of makes me think about some of the things that I did, in my past. Obviously he can't go back to it and I can't go back to mine. But he's like, it kind of puts a different perspective on things when you see it from the female point of view, and like maybe some things that might have happened, whether it was cheating or lying to women and whatnot. And it made him think about, oh, wow, like that's kind of deep. He's like, you don't realize the hurt and the pain that you cause, towards someone when you do certain things until you like hear, oh, and then this happened, and then because of that, I felt this. Or even like, with my daddy issues, sometimes that gives people a new perspective. It's like, oh, like I get it. Like she's not just this type of girl. She kind of acts like this or she's this way because of this that happened in her past. And then last week, I went on a radio show and WTNT radio, and it was so funny because when I came in there, the guys was like, yeah, she got this list, don't be a wife to boyfriend, I got my own list. The guys was trying to go in on me. And then by the end of the show, they was like, yo, it was like, for real, like, I think we should read this book too, like, because they realized, like, I wasn't just saying, like, don't do this for your man, and girls, y'all need to be independent. Like, I'm not that chick. I'm not that, because, I take care of my man and stuff. But they were like, okay, we get it. Like, it goes a little deeper than just don't be a wife to boyfriend. It's so much more deeper. It deals with daddy issues. It deals with, abandonment issues, and it deals with the whole independent woman and, just being true to yourself and loving yourself. The fact that I started with the fact of loving yourself, they're like, oh, yeah, I can respect that. Yeah, look, that makes sense. And they was like, I think my wife needs to read it. I think my sister needs to read it. So, yeah, men can absolutely read it as well.
Yes. And this is your second book. So you also have another book, There's a Reason Why You're Single. And reality check, There's a Reason Why You're Single. But so I was like younger, and people were still like, no, you did good. And I was like, listen, I learned a lot from that book. I made a lot of mistakes. I'm like, I'm glad that I did it, but I'm like, I wasn't the writer. And I feel like every book that I'm going to write, I'm just going to get better and better because, you take classes, you do workshops, you're constantly bettering yourself. But yeah, that first one was kind of like a practice trial, I guess you could call it. Okay. But still, like, either way, like, people don't realize it could be something wrong with them. Like, there's reasons why.
I mean, because I'm going to be honest, if you've been in 10 broken relationships, after a while, you kind of like, now there's a reason why I'm single now. Like, it can't be everybody else. You know what I mean?
Right. So, like, there's a trend. There's something in there. There's a commonality amongst all of it. And you need to peel back those layers and figure out the root cause of the situation.
Exactly.
And that doesn't matter how old you are, because you have a lot of newly divorced individuals, who, are now trying to find themselves now that they're divorced and they're newly single, and they might have given 20 years of their life, and they're like, wait a minute, I'm used to taking care of someone, or, it's just so many different layers, and it doesn't matter how old you are. Like, these types of books and lessons and testimonies, so that's really what they are. They're just testimonies, and I say this all the time on the show, like, never be afraid to share your testimony, because what you go through don't think you're the only one that's going through it. Don't think that you are in this world by yourself. And just because someone wrote a book in California and they're sharing their story, hey, you know what? I can learn from that, and I relate to that. And I'm going to grow from that because I know I'm not by myself. And, never be afraid to share that because it might be difficult, but that's your way of healing, and that's your way of growing and evolving and, saying, hey, I got this. I understand. I need to check myself. I need to get this together.
Yeah, exactly. And that was a lot of the motivation, another motivation why I wrote the book because, that's how we do. We go through things a lot of times, whether you're married or single, especially now that I'm married, I see it all the time. You be thinking, oh, my gosh, we're the only one that go through this in our marriage, and then you talk to somebody else and you realize that there are other people. But especially as women, we go through things and, like, you think you're the only one, or you be like, man, that was stupid of me. Why did I do that? And we're hard on ourselves. And then you're like, girl, I used to do the same thing. And it's like, it's so funny because people read my book and they're like, wow, like, you're married, but you went through a lot of the same stuff that I'm going through right now as a single woman, but you still married. Like, and I'm like, yeah, like, I'm telling you, Eric didn't just fall out of the sky. Like, things happen, but that's how we bond over our experiences and our shared lessons and our shared experiences together. And it's like, wow, like, you went through it, and this is how I overcame, or I went through it, this is how I overcame it. And then you can help somebody else, because a lot of times we're not going through things just to, like, help ourselves, but we're going through things so we can be better people and so we can help someone else that might go through the same thing.
Yes. And that's what this is all about, man. That's what life is about. You have to be open to listen, be open to share. And sometimes, we talked about this last week with Crystal Wilson, you got to listen and really take it in and say, hey, I understand. Let me digest it for a minute. I'm not going to respond, but let me just hear it, and then I can adjust accordingly, and that's how we grow and evolve as people, and even in relationships, because you're going to have those difficult conversations, those horrible arguments, but then especially if you got God in the center, you're not going to say anything that's going to hurt that person. You just like, okay, wait. Just honest. I gotta sit back and let me just hear it. Let me process it. Let me move forward and move on from there. I'm excited. I can't wait to get more in the book. Like I'm flipping now, and I'm like,
and make sure you write a review on Amazon, please.
Yes. I am. So September is over, and we still have about 2 months roughly left in the year. So what are some things you have going on for the rest of the year, going into next year? Like, what are those plans you have?
So I'm working on, I got an event coming up in October, Work, Pray, Slay weekend, so I'll be there as a vendor. So I'm excited about that. I'm trying to plan a mini book tour around some of the major cities in the East Coast, so we'll see how that happens. And ideally, I would love to have an event coming up in Atlanta around Valentine's Day, but not so much focused on Valentine's Day, more so focused on, like, self-love and stuff. So I'm trying to put something together for that. But, that's some things we got coming up, and just trying to keep putting myself out there and keep connecting with people, doing stuff like this, and talking with you all. I'm like, it's been a blessing because I've been able to connect with so many women and men, just in talking about the book and just talking about relationships on a deeper level. So those are my plans, of course, to live it out. Hopefully squeeze in a mini vacation somewhere in here.
I know that's right. It was so funny because I'm friends on Facebook with a publicist who's done work for Essence and Ebony and, like, a lot of different publications. And she actually posted your book on her Facebook feed and was like, yo, y'all got to read this. And then, like, she had, like, 30 comments, right, of, like, yo, I just wrote it, I heard about it. And then, like, people was like, wait a minute, can I read this? I'm a Christian. And I'm like, look, and I commented, anybody can read the book. It really doesn't matter if you're a Christian, a Muslim, a Buddhist. Like, it's not that kind of, like, it's real, it's raw. She's honest, real. And it's, but as a Christian, we're not just holier than thou. Like, we're not all Christians are without sin. Okay, so it's like, don't
none of us
that
are.
way. But right, and, like, it was like, I'll tell you. And I was like, when I waited to the end of the thread, and I was like, hey y'all, so Shonda's going to be on the show on Friday. They was like, for real? You know, and it was like, oh, my gosh, I got to finish reading the book. So it was very coincidental, and it was such a blessing that so many people are hearing about your book, and the word has traveled. And she's up in New York, and she's like, hey, I started reading this. This is freaking awesome. I think you need to read this.
Amazing.
And her friends that were commenting were like 40 and over, you know, like all different ages.
Yes.
So I was like, it's just a coincidence. And I was like, yes, people are reading it. That's great, you know, especially if they didn't even know that you were going to be on. Exactly. This was like way before I even started to promote it. So it's going to be good. It's a good thing.
That makes me smile. I'm like, I'm trying to promote and advertise. Everybody, you know, once the book is over, I was like, oh, the book's over, you finished. I'm like, nah, like,
no.
You know, even when you're an author, you have to market your stuff, you have to promote, you got to buy ads, you got to advertise. Like, it's a lot. I'm like, Essence, call me any day, call me Essence, you know. Just but
absolutely.
It's like, you know, putting yourself out there and like, cause there's so many women. You know, I did an interview with my gal pal over in London, and I'm like, just to connect with the women over in London was like amazing. And I'm like, this is for every woman. It doesn't matter. Like you said, it doesn't matter your nationality. Somebody on my Facebook was like, well, you know, I'm tired of reading books like this for black women. I'm like, where in the title did you see that this is a book for black women? Like, this is a book for any woman that's ever dated any guy. Like, you know, it's for all women because it's like I said, it's not. I'm not telling you this is how you get a man. This is how you keep a man. All I'm telling you is like, listen, I went through some things before I met my husband, and this is how I got through it. This is how I learned to love me. This is how I learned to be good with who I was, and this is how I learned to be happy and content in my life, no matter what my relationship status was, single, divorced, engaged, married, it doesn't matter. Like, I learned how to love me.
Yeah, and that's key, man. And there's men and women. Like, there's men out there who don't love themselves. It goes both ways. Don't just think that women are the broken ones. No, there's so many broken men out there. And I love the fact, you know, that on Iyanla Fix My Life, they had the men on there. And they were talking about, too, like, they're just as broken. They have bad issues and baggage. And they could be, they want to be vulnerable. They want to show their sensitive side, but they can't. And it's so many. You know, people need to just take a step back and realize, hey, we're all human. We are different X and Y chromosomes, but we go through the same emotions. We just share it differently. But there's no judgment, you know. And it's like, like if we could, if we could find the way. That's why I don't like to like point the finger at the guys and be like, listen. Now we all know it's some men that need to step up, but like I said earlier, it's some girls that need to expect more from these men too. So it's like it goes both ways. But if we all could just try to figure out, I know it sounds like world peace, but if we could all just take that have that self-reflection and say, okay, listen, how can I be a better me? Then we can go to the next one and say, okay, how can I be a better me for this next person? How can I be a better wife or a better girlfriend or a better boyfriend or a better husband to my partner? Once we can say, listen, I need to get myself together. But a lot of times we're so quick to point the finger and say, well, you need to do this, you need to do this. It's like, cool, but what do I need to work on? Because I got issues too. So. It's so much, ladies and gentlemen. It's so much to tell. It's just, I'm excited. I can't wait to finish this book.
I'm so excited. I appreciate the support.
I can't wait
more than you know.
Yes. Like, you know, there's so many great books, and I think, you know, the more we put positive words and different elements and layers of stories and help, you know, from other people, I mean, it's a great way to just grow and evolve. You know, I never say change. We don't want to change. We want to evolve, and that's what it's about. You know, we don't want to compromise. We want to just figure out, okay, how do I understand, move forward, and progress? You know, there's different ways to look at it, and that's all about that optimistic thinking. And, man, don't be a wife to a boyfriend. Amazon. It's there. It's all there. And tell everybody, Shonda, how can people connect with you on social media, your website, all that good stuff?
Oh, yeah, cool. Y'all can catch me on, of course, my website is ShondaBrownWhite.com. I send out a daily dose of motivation and inspiration every Monday morning, so make sure you sign up for the newsletter. It's nothing too long, and like I said, I do my inspirational quotes and stuff on Facebook and Instagram and everything, but my e-newsletter kind of takes you a little deeper each and every week. You could see a little bit more of my side and things I might be dealing with for that week. And then, of course, on Instagram and Twitter, Shonda B White, Shonda B White. And then on Instagram, it's the Life and Love and Shonda Brown White page. So that's where I usually connect with all my readers. And I want you guys to, like, talk to me, tweet me, comment on my Instagram, let me know what you think about the book, post reviews, and just connect with me, because that's what I love the most. When somebody emails me and they're like, yo, I'm on chapter 9, and I'm like, wow. Like, or if somebody's like, I'm on chapter 6, and tears are rolling down my eyes because I'm in this situation right now, but I feel like I'm going to get through it. I'm like, yes, that's what I want to hear. That's what I want to talk about.
Right. Oh, I can't wait. I'm excited. I think just get the book, y'all, because I said so, and Shonda said so too. Like, just buy it. You know, Christmas is coming. It's a nice stocking stuffer for those single women and single men around the holidays. You know, hey, this is your stocking stuffer. You need to learn something going into 2017. Let's bring some positive and some flourishment and just nurturing this. Let's adjust ourselves a little bit. Great read. And, you know, I just thank you for being on the show. You're definitely welcome to come back on. I'm bringing more of these types of topics going into 2017. And, you know, because living in the single world and then transitioning into dating, marriage, and I can't wait to hear the marriage version of the book, the Now That I Am a Wife, and how do I be a good wife to my husband, or how my husband going to be a good wife to my whatever.
Right, whatever that's going to be.
Whatever that's going to be. How do I be a good wife to the husband before the babies and all of that stuff, because then you just change the whole world and your dynamic changes. But I'm excited.
I'm excited too, and thank you so much for having me. I really, really appreciate it.
Yes, and I'm so glad that you were able to come on. And ladies and gentlemen, definitely go to ShondaBrownWhite.com. You know, if you missed anything, you missed social media, go there. Links are there. Everything is there, so you can connect with her, see what's going on. And if you're in the Atlanta area, she has some events posted too that you can see Miss Shonda at. And yeah, man, there's a lot going on, and I just want to thank you for being on the show.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the weekend.
Yes, you too, and keep on loving on that husband, even though anniversary was last week. You know, still celebrate going into October, honey. Just keep it going.
I will. And my birthday's coming up, so yeah, the celebration continues.
Yes. Most definitely. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Justmisslee Experience with Miss Shonda Brown White. Get the book, Don't Be a Wife, to a boyfriend, and the lessons and all of that. So get it on Amazon. We'll be back. We're going to finish out the show, have more talk. I'm going to give some of my perspectives on a couple other things on this dating world and how we can be better equipped with our heart. Yeah, man, I'm feeling like a little Mo forever. We'll be right back on the Justmisslee Experience.
Baby, at the point in my life when I'm tired of playing games, I'm ready to settle down. I'm ready to buy a house, and I'm ready to change my last name. Ready to have some kids, ready for the life to live, and all I've had to give. I've been your superwoman for so long, ready to be your wife.
Little M.O.
Now that love's taking over, I'm 100% sure that it's here to stay.
sucks is I had trouble getting the pants on. And I know things run through your head when your man's on. I come home, how you say, better than Cameron. You upset and they plans on, getting they chance on, getting they hands on. S.A.B.
Little Mo, Forever, featuring Fabulous. It's Miss Lee. It's the Miss Lee Experience. We're talking about girlfriends, wife mentalities, transitions, and all of that good stuff. Much love and just happiness for Shonda B White. Be sure to pick up her book. It is available on Amazon. Yeah, man, that's just what it's about. Building healthy relationships, having a positive outlook on life, loving yourself, appreciating the value and worth that God has given you, your divine beauty, power, my kings, my queens, all of y'all out there. Just understand that you are worth more than you think you are. You are powerful. You are fearfully and wonderfully made, in the words of my mentor, Kashana Hollins, and those relationships that we build and cultivate for men, women, friends, husbands and wives, fiancés, we need to understand that, hey, I stand in my truth, I understand my power, and I'm not backing down, because this is who I am. And I'm not going to compromise my morals, my values, my respect just to make you happy. So I mentioned I'm going to give some more tips on how to adjust the mentality. And these are some of my, I'm only giving these tips to things that I've learned and what I've watched. But before I do that, I know I mentioned JT is working, so much love and shout out to JT. He was called into work, and I wanted to give a couple highlights and some of the standings between the NFL. So starting with the NFC East, because, that's what I care about, because that's my division as an Eagles fan. T knows, I know, y'all know that. So the Eagles are 3-0, yay. In the NFC West, there aren't any undefeated teams in the NFC West. The Rams and the Seahawks are both with 2 wins, 1 loss. The NFC North, the Vikings are 3-0. In the NFC South, we have there aren't any undefeated teams in the NFC South. The Falcons are 2-1, and then the Saints, they haven't won a game. I don't know what's going on in Drew Brees land. As far as the AFC, we have a couple updates here as well. The Patriots are also 3-0. The AFC West, the Broncos are also 3-0. The AFC North, the Ravens are 3-0. And in the AFC South, we have just the Texans, which are 2-1. So very interesting dynamic with 3 games into the NFL season. And I know a lot of, I think everybody was just confused, and there was a couple upsets out there, and there was a lot of surprises last week in week 3 of the NFL. I don't think anyone expected the Eagles to beat the Steelers the way that they did. I think that was a big surprise, to see how the game was played and how, pressure was put on, Ben, and how the Eagles just kind of flew all over them. It was a very crazy game. I think people had high hopes for the game, even, with the Jets and the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots are still undefeated, and they don't even have Tom Brady playing, It's kind of crazy. And, again, the Broncos, I mean, it's a lot going on. The Ravens are undefeated as well. They've won their last couple games by the skin of their teeth. It's been a real crazy season. So I can't wait to see what the week 4 will bring. I know you can't wait to see either. I'm excited for Sunday. You know, I know NFL, Sunday, Monday, and, of course, Thursday was the game as well. So a lot going on, and I know JT has more updates for you next week. So with that as well, I wanted to close out the show tonight with some of my tips and some advice as far as dating and not transitioning your whole entire mentality, your being, your elements into that other person. So this is for men and women, you know, and I think Shonda talked about this a little while ago as well, and I'm going to reinforce it. Love yourself. You have to love yourself. It might be hard. You might not want to look at yourself in the mirror, but you have to look in the mirror, men and women both. Say one thing you love about yourself, one thing you value, appreciate, what you've overcome about yourself. Tell yourself, you know what, I'm not perfect, but I'm made in the image that God created me in, you know? And once you understand the self-love and how T mentioned, take yourselves out, fellas too, go out to eat. Take yourself to the movies. Send yourself flowers. Buy yourself a gift. Treat yourself and do things that you normally wouldn't do, or do the things that you expect someone to do for you. Like, treat yourself. You know, once you understand how to be courted and how to court, you'll be able to appreciate when you meet that special person and they do that for you and with you. You know, and it's an even exchange of those practices. With that as well, ladies and gentlemen, don't rush. Don't rush. Don't rush. If you rush into things that's not meant for it to happen, it won't end well, and you don't understand and can appreciate the process. Understand the process. Things take time, and even though we see everything at the click of a mouse, we can react at the click of a button of a finger and in the instance of a text message. Take some time and let it marinate. You'll put it on the crock pot, let it stew. Let it stew. Let the relationship, the friendship, let it marinate for a while. Don't be so quick to jump in and go feet first, you know. And I think it's good if you're dating someone who's the opposite of you, because you guys can balance off of each other. You know, if you're the slow one, if you're the tortoise and that's the hare, hey, we got to meet both ways and turn into something else. We got to transition into a different kind of animal, you know what I mean? And we got to figure this thing out together, you know. But it's very important that we don't rush. Let it take its course. Don't go too slow, okay? Let it be naturally and organic. Don't go too slow, but don't rush it. You know, let it just happen, okay? Know your boundaries, know your space. I'm all about living separately. Don't play house. Let him do him. Let you do you. Have your meeting time together, because think about it. If you can understand how to live separately and appreciate your separate time, when you're together, you not only appreciate the time that you have together so much more, but when you have a family, you'll understand how important it is to have your time together and alone. So many people jump into the married life before they're married, have the kids, have the situation, have the schedule, have the routine, and you completely lose yourself. If you understand the value of yourself, you won't lose it when you're in a family environment prematurely. You know, take that time. Don't move in so quick. Don't share the bills so fast. If he wants to pay your rent, let him pay it. But let him, you know, like you, don't be so quick to sign your name on a dotted line. Don't be so quick to exchange your social security numbers so quickly. Let it evolve. You're still dating. There's nothing set in stone. And the final thought I'm going to say is don't allow the past hurt impact the present situation. That's very hard to do for ladies and gentlemen to do. You have to learn slowly but surely, let it go, but follow your intuition, like Shonda said. You know, in the purpose of me doing this 3-part series, you know, on dating into marriage, we had Troy Spry on, Mr. Exclusive, you know, on 2 weeks ago we had Cristal talking about the emotional baggage, and now tonight it's about the wife-girlfriend mentality. You know, it's very important that we take these various layers of the conversation and we sit back and we say, hey, what am I accountable for? How am I controlling my situation? And am I really enjoying my life and enjoying the situation that I'm being put in? You know, take a moment, think about it. Don't be so quick to be husband. Don't be so quick to be wife. Enjoy the process and let it go. Don't have regrets. Don't say, I wish I could have, would have. There's never, you can't regret something that you chose to be in. You can't. You can say, hey, I wish the outcome was different, but I learned from it. That's what I'm saying tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Again, much love to T on his anniversary. Much love to Shonda. Much love to JT. We will be back next week with a brand new series focused on the Time magazine cover with Colin Kaepernick. There's a 3-part series we're coming up in October on pride, patriotism, and privilege. Those are our first 3 topics for October, as well as more music, more guests, more funniness, more sports, and all of that. So it's the Justmisslee Experience. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the support. I feel like closing out the show with another song, and that's just how I do. And this song was played on my Facebook. It was shared by one of my sisters in Christ. So when I heard it this morning, she shared it on her Facebook page. I felt like I needed to play it today. So here's UGK featuring Outkast, I Choose You, and also known as the International Players Anthem. We'll catch you next week on the Justmisslee Experience. Have a safe and wonderful weekend, and I can't wait to talk to you next week.
Man, don't do it. I'm telling you, don't do it. Do it. I'm nervous. Why is he dressed like Rowdy Piper?
I got Scottish in my family.
Scottish? Come on, man. So who's your bridesmaid?
Come on, man. Just support me. Support me. Come on now. When the man is ready, he's ready. When y'all get 80, 70, 60, 55 years old, and y'all going to be sitting in a rocking chair by yourself, let's go to the club, Y'all going to be the only old in the club.
I'll play inside, man. Why get married, Pippin? Why?
So, I typed a text to a girl I used to see, saying that I chose this cutie pie with whom I want to be. And I apologize if this message gets you down. Then I CC'd every girl that I'd CC round town. And hate to see y'all frown, but I'd rather see her smiling. Wetness all around me, true, but I'm no island, peninsula maybe. Makes no sense, I know crazy. Give up all this that's in my lap, no looking back, spaceship. Don't come equipped with rear view mirrors, they dip as quick as they can. The atmosphere is now ripped. I'm so like a pimp, I'm glad it's night. So the light from the sun would not burn me on my bum when I shoot the moon. High jump the broom like a preemie out the womb. My partner yelling too soon, don't do it. Reconsider, read some litter. Sure on the subject, you sure? You know we got your back like chiropractic. If that do you dirty, we'll wipe her out as in detergent. Now hurry, go on to the altar. I know you ain't a pimp, but pimp, remember what I taught you. Keep your heart 3 stacks. Keep your heart, hey, keep your heart 3 stacks. Keep your heart, man, these girls are smart. 3 stacks, these girls are smart. Play your part, play your part.
My to choose it, lover, never without a rubber. Never in the sheets like it on top of the cover. Money on the dresser, drive a compressor. Top notch, get the most, not the lesser. Trash like the for $40 in the club. Up the game, she gets no love. She be cross country, giving all that she got. 1,000 a pop, I'm pulling billions off the lot. I smashed up the gray one, bought me a red. Every time we hit the parking lot, we turn head. Some wanna choose, but them is too scary. You chose me, you ain't a pimp, you a bitch.
Baby, you been rolling solo, time to get down with the team. The grass is greener on that other side, if you know what I mean. I show you've never seen the 7 wonders of the world. And I can make you the 8th if you wanna be my girl. When I say my girl, I don't mean my woman, that ain't my style. Need a real street stalker, walker, mile. You piling up the paper on the dining room table, cause you able to realize I'm the truth and not a fable. We rockin' Russian table, keep that chiller on the rack. What I look like with $1,000 up on my back. I'm $1 million Mac, they need $1 billion. Put my pimpin' in your life, watch your daddy get rich. Easy as ABC, simple as 1, 2, 3. Get down with UGK, Pimp CBU with B. Cause what's up with no pimp, and what's a pimp with no? Don't be a lame, you know the game and how it goes. We try to get chose.
Decisions with precision.
get your parasol umbrella, cause it's gonna get wetter. Better prepare you for the sea support. She's supposed to spend it on that baby, but we see she don't.
Ass Paul McCartney, the lawyers couldn't stop this. Slaughter of them pockets had to tie to a rocket.
Send her into outer space, I know he wish he could, cause he paying $20K a day, that eating good. Like an infant on a double D, just getting drunk, cause you miscalculated the next to the last pump.
Dump in the gut, from the giddy up. Better choose the right one or pick the kitties up.